So Trump recently threatened to impose 50% retaliatory tariff if China doesn't pull out their 34% tariff on all US imports into China. So, this one will bring about 104% tariffs on Chinese imports into America.
With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that were in the White House that allowed this to happen. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year they'd make on us on trade, and it shouldn't be that way. And I have a great relationship with President Xi. I hope it's going to stay that way. I have great respect for China, but they can't do this.
Trump recently threatened to impose some form of retaliatory tariff, 50% tariff on top of the current 34% tariff, if China doesn't pull up their 34% tariff by today, midday, 12 o'clock American time, because China had said they would impose a 34% tariff on all US goods import from US into China in retaliation to these tariffs that America imposed on Chinese goods into America. So we're talking about this tariffs. So this will bring about the total tariffs on Chinese imports to 104% when you count the 20% tariffs that were imposed initially by Donald Trump on his first administration, continued with Joe Biden. Joe Biden did not remove them, continued with them. So this is the US policy. These tariffs on Chinese goods, they continue from both administrations. They continued into the Democratic administration, and now Donald Trump imposed an additional 34%. And then if he then goes ahead, which I think he'll go ahead because I don't see China pulling up from this 34% tariff, and then that means they all imports from China into America, the American importers who are importing Chinese goods, including your iPhone, they would have a price rise of 104% on every price that an importer imports from China. Who will pay for this? You guess it. American consumers will pay for that one. Yeah. So his message, if China wants access to American markets, they better pay up. Pay up, China. If you want access to my American markets, you better pay up. So they need us more than we need them. This is how it sounds like, but in reality, it's not true. This is not how the global market works anyway, but that's what happens when you elect a felon. We should all have a standard, about who we elect into the office. What is the minimum standard? When you don't have standard, this is what you get. This is what we get. Unfortunately, when America is been known to be the world superpower, the decision to actually impose this tariff and China's response to this retaliatory tariff has led to a lot of people losing money in their 401k in America, us in our super, declining our super share, because the super money, they get invested in these global markets. They get invested there so it can grow. So when it's time for you to retire, you have a good amount of money to spend to cover for all your expenses. This is how retirement funds and all the super works. Okay, they get invested into, obviously they do diversify their investment into different markets, but they would invest heavily into American markets because American stock markets 50% of the global stock markets. So who wouldn't want to have any share in any of those markets? You'll be dumb if you don't do that. So diversification, that's what it's like. You diversify into different markets so you can get actually the benefit of your money to buy stock, a little bit of that investment, so that when you need to the money, to retire, it's there available for you. So with this decision of this tariff, which are not even tariffs, but they're extortion, this extortion fake tariffs that people are talking about, it actually has led to people losing money, not just America. We're all going to be suffering from this nonsense of Donald Trump, you know? Yeah. So he treats the US economy, Trump treats the US economy as, Trump Towers, his Trump hotels, Trump club sort of things that, people should pay up to access it. They should have a form of membership to buy into the US market. He treats the Americans and the US market, all those assets and equity in America and those companies and everybody else, everything about America as his own. So to you, as all you, different governments, if you want to have access to those markets, you better pay up, says Donald Trump. These are not tariffs. We should not call this thing tariff. I mean, it's not tariffs at all. So it's a form of extortion, a form of membership, and a form of bullying people into submission. In any way, it's not different how we know Trump anyway. So, it started with Ukraine president when he visited them, when he actually humiliated him and told him to pay up. They didn't have the cut. Trump, unfortunately for Trump, China has cuts. China has cuts. They do. They do have cuts. And this could actually backfire not on you, but in all of us. Yeah, all of the Western power countries, including all the developing markets, they're all going to suffer as a result of this man elected to be a president who should actually be in prison. He should be actually be in prison. This is not about fair trade. It's actually about who can survive the economic pressure of America. Who could survive it? It's not about fair trade. And this is actually coercion. It's not competition. For sure, this is not competition. It's about who can survive this coercion, this coercive control from Donald Trump. Tariff money are not paid by Chinese. Tariffs are not paid by even the businesses. Tariffs are passed on to consumers. If you're not aware of this, tariffs are going to be passed down to American consumers. The importers and the consumers are the one going to pay this tariff. So that means everyday American, everyday working class Americans would be paying for this bill, for this 104% tariffs. So he could be using, like I said, he's got a plan. Oh, yeah, of course he's got a plan. I told you he's got a plan. The plan is to actually uh, give these tax cuts to the billionaires, but he can't give the tax cut to billionaires because America is in debt. They're paying more on the interest on that debt than actually the debt itself. So that's not sustainable. So he needs to cut and he needs to give his billionaire some tax cut. But he's planning to use these tariffs as a form of the to pay off some of the debt so he can give this billionaire some tax cut. So this this is actually wealth transfer by stealth. This is transferring wealth from working class Americans who will be paying these high price on goods to offer the billionaire tax cuts. Wealth transfer by stealth. This is what Trump's plan. Oh, he's got a plan. Don't be no. People are just saying, oh no, he's no. Trump has a plan, but the plan he has is unconventional. Is not informed by evidence. It's actually his own created scamming tariff calculation. It's as much as that calculator of a tariff, which doesn't calculate any tariff at all. You know, this is how we're doing it now. This is the reason why when you elect somebody who should be in jail, you get this. When you elect somebody who should be rotting in jail, this is what you get. But unfortunately, it's not just for America, it's for all of us. We didn't vote for this stuff that we're going to suffer for our money, for our super, you know? So unfortunately for Trump, China hit back with that 34% tariffs and also those rare earth restrictions. So where's America going to get those rare earth to use in the military, in AR, in those NVIDIA microchip, advanced AR? Even with that restriction that they imposed following Joe Biden, as in restriction on shipping those microchip, AI microchip into China, China responded to them with actually restricting those other rare earths that are used, that are needed by America. And they were scrambling to find those rare earths. They now are restricted to more rare earths. Even though, like I said, South Africa has many rare earths, but most of them, they go to China because China refines them to make use of them, to make them valuable. The refineries are in China. The reason why they've got refineries is because our gas that we send them to them that's cheaper, that they have some that they can use and produce this product cheaper because the energy is cheaper, and they can then export these refined rare earth minerals and make these products that we use. In just iPhone alone has about 4 rare earths in it. The iPhone, that 4 minimum of the rare earth that is used to make those iPhones.
I also want to ask you, Justin, you said the pain is going to be 50 times worse than what Trump's first-term policies created. Is that hyperbolic? Do you really believe that? And how are we going to really fundamentally feel it change our lives here in the U.S.?
No, so that is a very literal estimate. The logic of this is, I'm not going to get into this part of it, which is the cost of a tariff rises with the square of a tariff. So small tariffs, small problems, big tariffs, big squared problems. How does this play out for you and I? Well, next time you go to the grocery store, just pick a few things off the shelf, and rather than checking out the price, check out where it came from. You'll discover that all of our lives are profoundly integrated with people all around the world. And even if it says made in America, it's probably made in America, often with ingredients or inputs from abroad. And then go to work and think about certainly your job, your work is being exported all around the world. And so what's going to happen is effectively President Trump is cutting you and I off from all of the glorious variety and richness that we get from engaging with the rest of the world.
Imagine where is Americans will get platinum from. Ask yourself that question. Where could America get the platinum? Because South Africa's platinum has become so expensive, 34% more expensive. And Americans would need that platinum. They need it for the oil, for refinery of the oil, because platinum is a catalyst. And platinum is used for in medicine. It's used for implants. That's, if you want to know about its use of platinum, go to that platinum videos that are made. That platinum would actually give you some really information about what platinum it's all about. So because you can't get any platinum anywhere except South Africa. Where are you going to get a platinum from? The only way, I mean, they could try and recycle some of the platinum, but that's not going to be enough. And you can't use a recycled platinum to make an implant, a pacemaker. You couldn't actually use a platinum to make a medicine like cisplatin for chemotherapy, could you? No, you need platinum. So the more the Donald Trump's US leans into these tariffs, these fake tariffs, the more likely others will build alternative alliance. Like they will all flee into this BRIC plus partner. You know, this is not going to be good for America anyway in the long term. So America could actually lose its reputation as a stable trade partner. You know, when there's a sellout to buy the US dollars, that won't happen again. It's likely that may not happen, where the money will be removed from the US dollars. This is about a bad economist. This is a bad diplomacy. If all the money moves from America into maybe China, all they can to decide and realize they're being extorted, and that even going and actually, you know, negotiate, they're just negotiating on a lie. As soon as they wake up to realize that this is a form of extortion, and they need to form alliance. If they move the dollar, the amount from the dollar that's indebted that much, this could collapse America. This could backfire big time. There are other people could backfire. This is actually risky for all of us because the global markets, all the countries, view America as the reliable, stable investment destination. And by doing these fake tariffs that do not exist, using a fake formula, it's just, I mean, what are you going to negotiate on? Just tell me. You're starting on fakeness. You're really going to have this meeting on a lie. What tariffs do South Africa impose on America? 34% tariff on platinum. I mean, if I was South Africa, I would just, okay, no worries, 34% it goes. We don't care. You know why they wouldn't care about 34% import of South African goods into America? Because South Africa is the only producer of platinum. Yeah. I wouldn't care. I would say, bring it on. 34%, no worries. 100%, no worries. Where are you going to get platinum from? America? Where are you going to get it from? And this can actually be a problem for, you know, for America as well, for globally, because platinum is actually used even in medicine. If you're not aware, if you want to know what we use platinum for, just go to that video that I did about platinum, okay, the platy. When I said South Africa has cards, you know, in response to this, you don't have cards, you know, I spoke really extensively about the role of platinum and what the platinum is used for. But South Africa is the world's producer of platinum. And platinum is used as a catalyst. Only electric vehicle don't need platinum. The only car that doesn't need platinum, it is a electric cars. Maybe he's trying to increase electric market for Tesla. Probably, I think maybe their strategy is to force Americans to buy Tesla because You can't have a car without platinum because you needed it as a catalyst. Just to make one example. And you need platinum for medicines. 6+10. You need it for pacemaker. Or any implant needs platinum. Because platinum is biocompatible. That's why. And if you want to learn more about it, go to that video and about platinum to learn. So this is actually crazy. Talk about being an idiot. He's playing hardball. He thinks he's got the cards, but he doesn't have the cards. He doesn't have the cards. On this one, this fake tariffs, Trump doesn't have the cards. Is this actually a strength or short-sighted? That's a question. So, because his strategy is based on fear and pressure. And I would be surprised if all of these countries' leaders are now thinking about the exit, are now looking at alternatives, because you all should have a plan B. If by now you haven't had a plan B, you haven't sat down and look into how you can actually exit this stuff, I would say you probably should not be elected in to become leaders of those countries, because this is an extortion. You can't negotiate on a lie. First, you need to have facts on the ground. There's no 34% that China has imposed on any US imports. Therefore, these tariffs are unjustifiable for any countries. They're unjustifiable. So what are you going to sit on this stuff and be? This is, like I said, this is Trump's apprenticeship. You are participating in Trump's apprenticeship in the art of the deal that is created. So you give him something, money, so he can pay for the tax cut he's promised for his friends, his mates. You know? So he can stimulate the economy. And, even with the stock market, is probably also gunning. One thing that I think is keeping an eye on it, that I think this is looking at, some of the market here, is that he's looking to make sure that stock market goes down. Goes down to the point whereby the Fed has to intervene. You know how the Feds intervene? They print the money. When they print the money, what happened? The assets increase in price. That stock market that dropped by in a bear market zone will not shoot up into 2 times that. So what will happen? The rich will get richer. Those with stock markets that invested in stuff will get richer. So that's why you need to know how to invest in stock markets, how to actually invest for a long time in the stock markets yourself. So you can have a diversified investment and buy shares and buy other stuff. But this is what is going to happen. This thing is going to go down, 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 and the Fed will intervene, just like the banking crisis, and print the money. And they print the money, asset prices goes up. The poor gets poor, the richer get richer. This is another strategy that he's got in. He's got a strategy, and the strategy is not for the working class people. The strategy is to help the rich get richer and richer and richer. The strategy is for poor to get poor and get poor. That is his strategy. There is no justification for this stuff that you would actually slap a country like Lesotho, the poorest of the poor, them with 50% tariff. And when you even calculate that tariff using this dumb fake tariff calculation, you can't even get that 50% in the last year deficit when you use the deficit. But what I think they use for Lesotho, they use their February import and export deficit to calculate the tariff for Lesotho. You can just have a look and use it yourself, that calculator, that fake calculator that they used. But it's just fake. It's not calculating any tariff at all. So why are we calling this thing a tariff? It's not a tariff. It's extortion fees. It's extortion fees. It's not a tariff. I agree. China should stand its ground and said no to this nonsense. If China says no, Donald Trump, we'll see what Donald Trump will do, but China's not going to back down because they're they're smarter. They know what they can see, I can see. Everybody can see this stuff. It's actually a nonsense, ridiculous, and it risks our investment. It risks everything that we've worked hard for.
They're dying to make a deal, but I said, we're not going to have deficits with your country. We're not going to do that because to me a deficit is a loss. We put a big tariff on Europe. They are coming to the table. They want to talk, but there's no talk unless they pay us a lot of money on a yearly basis.
Justin, I will fully admit to getting a not nice grade in my grad school economics class, but is that how trade deficits work? Most of these are free economies. Can you make a top-down policy to instantly level out a trade deficit, or is that a more market-driven figure?
Not only can you not do it, you don't want to do it. This is someone who, Christina, I don't care how poorly you did in your graduate school economics. You still did better than this bloke. Look, here's the way to think about it. I have a trade deficit with Trader Joe's. I go to Trader Joe's once a week and I buy a bunch of stuff, so I'm buying stuff from them. And when I'm at Trader Joe's, I say to them, I'm here, I'm willing to sell you economics lectures. And for some reason, they never buy anything from me. The question is, could I immediately remedy that trade deficit? The only way to do that would be by stopping buying anything from Trader Joe's altogether. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of how global trade works. And the terrifying thing is, this isn't just me coming to you. This is every economist in the United States, with the exception of one. That one is Peter Navarro, who turns out to be the convicted felon who's currently advising the president. What he needs to do is look outside the White House and get some advice from someone else, because this is pure destruction.
So I totally agree. This is actually destruction. Where would these countries start? Where would they begin to even have a discussion? Those countries that are making deals, what are they making deals on? If all the economists are saying this thing is a dud, it's fake, doesn't exist, it's made up, so what are you going to discuss? You should have facts on the table. What are the facts? What are the facts? I mean, the leader who would go there and have a negotiation and make a deal should be looked at with the side eye. You should look at them with the side eye and ask yourself why he was even in the office. Having a deal, offer a deal, a form of deal. You don't offer a deal for someone who extorting you protection fees. This is a AKA protection fees. They're not tariffs. So what are you going to negotiate on? You first negotiate on the facts. There is no facts here. This is lie. Let's just start from there first. It's a lie. All the economists are saying it's a lie. This formula doesn't exist. It doesn't even measure tariffs. Tariffs on platinum. 30% in South Africa for tariffs on platinum. Okay. Like I said, South Africa, keep them going. Because where are they going to get platy for the trucks to make new trucks? Because you need platy for catalyst. Where are you going to get it from? They just made that price a bit higher, so it's good. You're going to make more money for a little bit of platinum that's going to be sold, because it's the only country that it's the world's producer of platinum. It's got about over 90% reserve of platinum. So what are you doing, Trump? See? And you're going to make medicines, essential medicine, very expensive. We should have standards. Standards is important. This is the biggest DEI hire in the world. Donald Trump is the biggest DEI hire. No. Oh no, he's the biggest DEI hire. There is no competence here. There is no skills. There's just nothing. There's not even brain at all. Just brainless. As we say in South Africa, brainless.
You see the president right there. He is slamming his critics and slamming those Republicans that may be thinking about opposing him, telling him, don't be weak, don't be stupid, don't be a panicking. Apparently combining panic and Republican there and coining a new term. But the president has repeatedly said that this is something that it's central not just to his political identity, Christina, but he keeps repeating that he has been talking about this for decades, even before he entered politics. So the White House, despite this chorus of criticism that we're hearing because of this market chaos, they at this point seem to stay the course. And they reiterated to me, despite that fluctuation earlier today with that rumor of some sort of 90-day pause in these tariffs, they are stressing that is not the case, and that is simply incorrect. They are staying the course, at least for now. Christina.
Jeff, there's also talk the tariffs could lead to a $2,300 iPhone. What is that about?
Well, I think that's just one example of where inflation may manifest as a result of these higher prices. And I want to thank you for asking Justin the question you did earlier about the economics of tariffs, because he did a better job of taking that on than I could. But I think broadly, the answer to your question here is that prices are going to go up. And the iPhone, based on where it's made and where the parts come from, and the presence that it has in China is going to be impacted by these increasing tariffs on China. So that is a good example of a product that a lot of Americans use, and there are a bunch of other examples as well.
So, Christine, what can Americans do to keep their money safe? Are we at the put it in a shoebox under your bed phase, or are there other better options?
I like high yield savings accounts. Shoebox, you don't get any return on that investment. But look, there are a lot of people running out trying to figure out where their cash is and if they have too much stocks and how close they are to retirement. You know, if you've got kids close to going to college or you're saving in a college savings fund, I totally get that anxiety. The Treasury Secretary told Kristen Welker that people close to retirement aren't looking at their 401ks day by day. My reporting would be show a different demographic, people who are very concerned here. So talk to a financial professional if you're close to retirement or you need to tap those 529 savings funds. And if you have cash, you know, make sure you're getting the biggest return on it that you can. If you need to buy a car, go out and get the employee pricing that's being offered now. A car will be more expensive in a year.
All right, Justin, same question to you. What's your advice for Americans who might be stressing out looking at their 401ks and bank accounts?
Look, none of us know which way the market's going to go. The one thing I do want to point out here is that what we've seen so far is not the end of it, which is at the moment markets are still pricing in some chance that Trump backs off. And so we've seen stocks fall 14%, even though we're not certain that he's going to stay the course. In terms of advice, the only thing that's obviously true is these are turbulent times, and if you don't have the stomach for risk, stay out of it. And beyond that, if you think you know what's going to happen, I tend to tell people to be a little more modest. It's very hard to time the market.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Until next time, see ya.